It's your boy Jose from Big Meat Sports. How are you guys doing on this lovely week on this Monday? Coming on here a little early. Yes. Was supposed to have my co-host JC, but he sold me on the last second. No, I'm just kidding. He had he had some stuff to do. Hopefully we'll have him on here a little bit later. He can come on after he's done what he's doing. But let's go ahead and talk about some of these games, talk about some of the stuff that happened this weekend. So yeah, let's talk about those. If we had JC on today, we were going to start about the Miami Dolphins, but since we don't have him on, we'll start with the Dallas Cowboys. So yes, the Dallas Cowboys beat the Detroit Lions yesterday. And I don't know how to feel about this game because was a Detroit Lions team that was very, very bad on defense. Good on offense, but bad on defense. And I just felt like this was the coming out game, probably get a 30, maybe a 40-point victory. And things didn't look so good at the beginning of the game. It just felt like Dak was he was pressing. He was pressing a lot. Felt like he needed to make the big play, sometimes throwing into double, triple coverage. I'm surprised a couple of those passes didn't get intercepted. But then the second half came along, and that's when the games kind of settled down for him. I think that he kind of realized that this running game is legit. You know, you're seeing it from the sidelines, but when you're in the game, it's a different beast. And the fronts that we're seeing, man, I feel like this offensive line just loves to run block because they are mauling people. I mean, look what we did to the Philadelphia Eagles offensive line, defensive line that's supposed to be good, and now we continue to get better and better in the run game. Scary moment with Zeke. Got kind of looked like a hyperextension, maybe some bruise, but it kind of reminded me of, I think it's the Frank Gore injury from the University of Miami where his leg was caught on the ground. But this one was, Zeke's leg was kind of raised. It was not totally on the ground, and that defender came right into it, and it looked like it's bent backwards. But I was glad to see that he was okay. Zeke is having a really good year. I'm not going to say excellent because it hasn't been one of those 120-yard games, but he's having an excellent year. But then you kind of saw that Tony Pollard started getting more touches, more explosive running back, and it's great to see for the Dallas Cowboys. One thing I saw during this game was the tight end situation. Dak loves Schultz. But the thing is with Schultz, you can tell he's laboring and he's not as fast as the other tight ends that we do have. Hendershot and Ferguson. They look way faster than him. But it's just that rapport that Dak has with Schultz. So I believe, Schultz. They say he has a injury that Zeke had last year. It's just basically pain management, what he can go through. Most likely in the offseason, if anything, he'll probably need surgery. But if he does surgery now, then he's out for the rest of the season. But it's interesting to see this defense, man. With this defense, it's crazy enough as it seems. They keep on getting better and better on the defensive front. Rushing the passer, you have Sam Williams in there attacking. I mean, he had 2 sacks and 1 tackle for loss, which I almost went almost went apeshit when he slammed the running back Jamal Williams down because I really thought they were going to throw a penalty on that one. But it was kind of interesting with Sam Williams and all this pieces. Sam Williams is our rookie. He's supposed to be the next Micah Parsons or whatever, but he's just an edge rusher. I want to see with this front dominating like they are with and giving Sam Williams more, I would say more reps, instead of, I think he had like 15, maybe start bumping that up a little bit more. And I would like to see Micah Parsons not just rush the passer, but I want to see him in the linebacker position and filling those gaps and stopping this run, because that's the one thing I'm seeing consistently with this defense is the run game. we're getting gashed in the run game. That's if I can say anything is wrong about this team on defensive side, it's the run game. And you're gonna run into teams like San Francisco, Philly, and every top elite team that knows how to run the ball and they have a good running game. And you gotta it's one thing you have to stop, man. That's the only thing I could say about wrong about this defense. Corner situation, Jordan Lewis went out, and it's kind of sucks because he did get an interception. It looks like a Liz Frank injury on his foot. But I want to see. I did want to see Deron Bland. I think Deron Bland was more of a sticky coverage guy, and it's great for us, man. Um, I thought for Deron Bland should have been starting over Jordan Lewis. I think Jordan Lewis has the experience. Yes, you want that on the defensive side, but I just feel like Deron Bland is a really, really good player, and you need to get him in as much as you can. And now, when an injury happens, it's next man up. And now Deron Bland has his time to shine, and I want to make sure that he goes out there and shines with the best of them because I see a lot of potential. I see a lot of potential. Um, but yeah, so one of the funnier moments of yesterday's game was it happened during a holding call on the Detroit Lions. But I do want to show you this clip because it is funny as hell, and I got to show you right now. So let me cue it up for you. There you go. Oh yeah, he hit that ref with that ball. It was so funny because it looked like it was so on purpose. It like you can even see the ref. You can see the ref on the other side say, "Hey, look, that's wrong. You're supposed to give me the ball." And to me, it's one of those times that you feel that he did it on purpose. You're probably not stuff is not going your way. You're frustrated on some of the calls. And I know and I was a baseball player, and there's some tendencies that if you're feeling like an umpire is not calling the way you're gonna call, I'm not saying I did this, but the catcher just probably just get crossed up and the fastball hits the umpire in the chin or something, in his face mask or whatever the case may be. Maybe it's one of those things. I don't know, but I know there. I wish I had JC on here to see what he thought about that and some of the basketball because JC did play basketball in high school. See what if anything he did versus the rest. But man, that to me that was one of my funnier moments during that game. Was Jamal Williams hitting the ref in the face. But let's go. Let's dive into the Miami Dolphins because it's interesting. Tua is back, and I'm a Tua supporter. I love Tua. I love the guy's story overall. Nobody's still, there's Tua haters still out there, and I love the first drive that we saw. Okay, the first drive that we saw, Tua went down the field, and it looked like it was just pinpoint accuracy. Um, Quick decisions, got the ball out of his hand. They mixed, some run in that first drive, and then it ended with a touchdown. But then when the game got on, I just felt like the chemistry was off between him and Tyreek Hill. I felt like a bunch of times when I was watching the game, and I saw a lot of times that Tyreek Hill dropped the ball. It's when Tyreek Hill came out of his break, I felt like he was stuttering instead of continuing to run that post or run the slant, whatever the case may be. And it looked like he stuttered. And Tua already had that ball. Everything with Tua, again, he doesn't have the strongest arm, but he's really accurate, and a lot of stuff was timing. And I felt like him and Tyreek Hill were a little bit off on those plays. There's a lot of drop passes too. This wide receiver core, the corners, I mean the wide receivers, the tight ends, it just seemed like to me, and I know it was kind of raining out there. It was kind of hot and muggy, but it was just unexcusable drops. And then you got the penalties that brought him back. It felt like a couple of times that they had drives going, but it got brought back by penalty. Um, but my concern is there's a lot of injuries for the Dolphins on the defensive side. It's like their secondary, it keeps on getting killed and killed with injuries. It's like in one after another, one after another. I believe Jones just went on the IR. And now it's that next up man mentality, but are they good enough to overcome this? Now, last game, versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, they were good enough. They had 3 interceptions. Some of those interceptions, I would blame on Kenny Pickett, but you really got to give it up to the Dolphins on that aspect where they're making plays, they're getting their interceptions. But the other thing it's cause for concern is this Miami Dolphins defensive front gets no pressure at all when the Dolphins want to get pressure, they got to create some kind of blitz, safety blitz, whatever kind, pressure that, what blitzing packages that they have to use that. They can't rely on the four-man front that they have because, other than Phillips, it's nobody. Like it's nobody can create pressure for them. And it's I think it's causing for concern, but I'm glad that the Dolphins got back on their winning ways. I think that was a really good game for Tua to come back to. Now again, he wasn't, and then there was a lot of times that Tua should have threw the ball away. And there should have been 4 interceptions by the Pittsburgh Steelers, and there's four drops by the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that might have could have changed the game and the outlook of the game. Maybe they could have won the game, but in the end, Tua, I just think was kind of pressing a little bit, just like how Dak was pressing. I think Tua was doing a little bit more pressing, but then Dak, I would say, didn't have as many almost interceptions than Tua. And then Tua, please, when you run the ball, please go down. Please slide. It is very, very scary. Like I hold my breath every time that I see you roll out of the pocket because I'm just afraid that like when you roll out of pocket, it just replays in my mind of the injury in Cincinnati and your arms, your fingers crossing and doing like West Coast, gangster signs and stuff like that. It looks scary. And for me, I just want Tua to take care of himself. And is it is it where the Dolphins need, the Dolphins and the coaching staff need to sit down with Tua and like practice sliding, or is it too late and is it ingrained in his head that he cannot, he's not sliding? It's something that he goes against. I don't know. It's one of those things that's hard to just change somebody's mindset of should I, should I die for this first down? Can I run over this guy? When you had so many concussions, and it's so hard to change that mindset of let's slide and play for another down, or let's throw the ball away and play for another down. Tua needs to get better at that, man, because I feel like if he wants a extended career like he says he wants, he needs to start doing these little things as throwing the ball away, sliding, it's living for the next play, living for the next down. And I think that's what hurts Tua right now. Um, Other things, basketball season has start, and look, I was watching my Miami Heat. I'm not aware of the score right now because they're playing the Raptors, but at least Miami Heat got on the win column. But let's talk about those Lakers. Um, those Lakers, like I, again, and I wish I had JC on here, but it's because he's a diehard Laker fan. But this Laker team looks bad, bro. This take Laker team looks really, really, really bad. It's coming to a point where are we seeing, the decline of LeBron James and his team, or is this just LeBron James is just surrounded by horrible players, or not horrible, but really bad players. Um, and it sucks because I think of the latter. LeBron James is a very good player. LeBron James is one of the best players in the world, and I'll admit that. But right now, he is doing way, way too much at the beginning of the year to help carry this team for wins, and they haven't won a game yet. I think that they need to make a trade and need to make a trade real quick before this thing gets out of hand. Because Russell Westbrook, as you can see, is destroying this team. Now, there was a clip, and I don't have the clip on me right now, but there's a clip where it showed the Lakers going down, and basically the Trailblazers were giving him that jumper. And I believe if they, I think it was a tie game or they're losing by one, or I forgot the scenario, but it was a close game. And they did not get in the set. And Russell Westbrook puts up the worst shot in history. Like it made no sense. And you could see the frustration with Anthony Davis and LeBron James and the whole stadium arena, because this guy is trying to do so much and prove to the people so much that he is that guy, and he isn't that guy anymore. I seriously do think that the Lakers need to go ahead and make a trade with the Indiana Pacers. I do think that, give Russell Westbrook away, and I do think that the Pacers can give away, like, if the trade I'm looking for is Miles Turner and Buddy Hield to the Lakers for Russell Westbrook, and maybe, if anything, a second round or third round pick. But the Lakers need to do something seriously, because they need to do something serious and hurry up and do it now before this gets out of hand, because there's teams losing, and look, you don't have to have the superstars. And I think for the trade aspect, I'm saying Miles Turner spreads out. Turner can hit the three, and he's very good defensively. He's a shot blocker. Anthony Davis doesn't want to be down there. Anthony Davis is a good defender, but he's shooting horrible at three-pointing. And I think it's just, you kind of have like that Twin Towers thing if you have Miles Turner. And we all know what Buddy Hield does. Buddy Hield is that three-point shooter. He can create off the dribble. He's that other scorer for you. Because the Lakers are atrocious, atrocious at three-point shooting right now, and it's getting very, very bad. But that's why I just want to see what you Laker fans think of my trade. Do you think it will benefit, or do you think there's another trade out there that the Lakers should go for? Because again, I don't know, like, LeBron's playing his 20th season. He wants to continue going. I know he wants to play for until his son's in the league and play with the son. But man, it's looking bad, and but you know we're gonna go we're gonna go on to another subject. We're gonna This is another funny moment that happened this past, well, actually this happened last week. But it's we're gonna come up funny moments here and there. And if you're tuning in on the Apple Podcast or Spotify, sorry you're not able to watch this. So just, if you want to check us out on YouTube or Twitch on the replay, please check us out. But this was a funny moment in yesterday's last week's football game with Kentucky, and it was just so funny how this guy flopped out of nowhere. So check this out. You're gonna see this guy flop, and this is the most delayed flop I have ever seen in my life. So you're gonna see. Watch this right now. He gets hit. One, two, three. three. Oh man, now I fall down. Oh, hey, look, he sold it so good that the refs even threw the refs threw the flag. Like it was so funny on that situation because I've never seen such a delayed flop in my life. Like I've seen flop and then it was probably like a half a second, but this is a full 2-second delay on the flop, and he still got the penalty. Man, that that was very very entertaining for me. Like we're gonna come up with the segment. I'm just waiting for a really good name for this segment to have like it's a funny segment after each week have a couple highlights of some funny plays that we saw and you guys tell me what name you guys think I should come up with. I'm thinking of some, but it's not nothing's really hitting me like I quite want to hit. um but real quick before we end this podcast, I forgot to talk about one subject, and then we're going back to the NFL. What's going on? What is going on in Tampa and Green Bay? Are we seeing the last of Tom Brady? I mean, Tom Brady is really, really, really struggling. And that Tampa Bay team, now, I did not see that coming. Them losing to Carolina. Now, Carolina just gave away their best running back and one of their, yeah, second or third wide receivers and Robbie Anderson. And they destroyed the Bucks. Like the Bucks didn't even score a touchdown. Yes, Mike Evans dropped a wide open catch. But it's I and then you go to Green Bay and Green Bay loses to Washington. Two teams that have probably most likely Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and they lose to two teams that are really on the bottom of the power rankings. Carolina, that's horrible. They had a backup. They moved on from Baker Mayfield. They don't. They have a backup running back. The only good wide receiver they have is DJ Moore, which I hope goes to Dallas. Hopefully they make a trade, but that's another topic of discussion. And then you have Green Bay, which yes, they lost Devontae Adams and um, a couple other wide receivers, but it's just you lose to the Washington Commies. Okay, Washington Commanders. But I like to call them Commies. Washington Commies, and you let Heineke, whatever his name is, beat you. I mean, I don't know what's going on in both of these teams, but they're lucky that they're in two bad divisions. Now, I think Tampa Bay can turn this thing around and still win the division because they're in the likes of New Orleans Saints, Atlanta, and Carolina. So they have the opportunity to still win a division. Even though that Atlanta team, you know, uh, other than the past week versus Cincinnati getting beat by Cincinnati, like, destroyed, the Atlanta team seems to have, playing good ball right now. So they can be a surprise. And if Tampa keeps on playing like they're playing, I want to be surprised if I see the Atlanta Falcons coming out of the South. But uh then you have the Green Bay. And really Green Bay is competing with the Vikings, Chicago, and I'm losing another team. Nope, losing another team here, but damn, who's that third team? But they're in that division, and that's more I could see it's more a little bit competitive, but I just think that this both of these two teams are really, really looking bad. Now, it's not like I've said this before, it's not with Tom Brady. We're not talking about, oh, how many more years can Tom Brady play? No, we're talking about this is the last season because he's looking horrible. And that's what because he's skipping practices, he's not, yelling at his teammates. He's has family problems because he came back and stuff like that. So a lot of stuff that's going on. Um, but I do like it's crazy to think that he wanted to come back one more season. Everybody thought it was going to be the last, hurrah, and he's having the season that he's having. Again, I don't know how you lose to the Carolina Panthers. They need to fix something over there, and it's looking bad for Byron Leftwich as the offensive coordinator and Bowles as a head coach because they're going to be looking on unemployment line because they're going to always blame the head coach and OC, but I really do think it's Tom Brady that's really having this play horrible. With Green Bay, it's just I know you don't have any weapons, but you can't be this bad. Like you have Aaron and their receivers are dropping some passes here and there. But then Aaron Rodgers, I think, is pressing too much and he's making mistakes. But this defense, it was different from the past because this Green Bay defense, when they're not good, the offense helped out because they're scoring 30, 35 points a game. That's not the case this year. This year, they're very, very bad on both sides. And, I thought maybe it's because they took the Jets lightly, the Giants, but and I was like, maybe those teams are really good. But then when you look back at it, I'm like, nah, 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 nah. Green Bay played Washington and they still look horrible. So it's Green Bay. So I don't know what's going on in these two organizations, but I don't think it's going to get fixed anytime soon. And that leaves open for a wide open NFC, and to see who's going to make the playoffs. Now, NFC East, NFC East, everybody was making fun of last year. They're calling it an NFC least, but this year we have one of the best records, and thanks to the Eagles being undefeated. But the Giants only lost one game, Cowboys only lost two games, and then you have the Washington Commies. But it's a strong division, and I do think that maybe this is one of those times that three teams out of the East get to the playoffs because it's looking like that. I do think it's going to come down to the wire because everybody's scheduling, and especially with the Eagles, if they drop one, the Giants and Cowboys are right behind, and then I believe the Eagles still have to play Giants twice. They have to play the Cowboys one more time, so it's going to come down to some division games with these people, with this NFC East. So, um, but yeah, guys, that's all I have for today. Thank you for tuning in for the Big Meat Sport podcast. Try to do live, live for. So thank you for tuning in on the restream on YouTube Live, Twitch, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please don't forget to like and subscribe on all major platforms. We thought we'd get JC in today, but didn't come in. Hopefully, I'll get some other to help out with the podcast, get some more participation. And don't forget, I'm going to start on my Instagram, on my personal page, and the Big Meat Sports podcast page. We will start putting the times of this live stream so you guys can interact. So you can you say something in the chat. I can chat back with you, and we go from there. It's a great experience, and it's a great thing that we have and going on. But again, thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next episode.